He walks in the door with a big smile on his face. You know that your wife is up to something when she opens the front door with a big smile on her face. It's not like her to be so happy after coming home from work. She looks at you and asks if you want to hear something funny that happened at work. Before you can respond, she launches into the story. It all started when this guy walks into the store. Right away, she noticed that he looked familiar, but she couldn't put her finger on it. The guy walks up to her and says, "Do you know where I can find the nearest bar?" She was taken aback by his question because she had never seen him before in her life. But there was something about his eyes that just felt so familiar to her. He looks at her for a second and then says, "Never mind, I think I know where it is," and he walks away. As soon as he walked away, she told her coworker that she was pretty sure that she knew that guy, but she couldn't remember from where. And her coworker responded, "Yeah, me neither." So they let it go. Later on, she saw the same man come out of the fitting room with a pair of jeans in his hand. And as soon as he came out, he looked at her and said, "Do you know where I can find the nearest liquor store?" She again was taken aback by his question because she had never seen him before in her life. But there was something about his eyes that just felt so familiar to her. "Nope, sorry, don't know," she responds. He thinks for a second and then says, "Well, thanks anyway." And he walks away. She immediately tells her coworker that she is 100% sure that she knows that guy from somewhere, but she just can't figure out where. Her coworker tells her that she's probably just imagining things, so they let it go. About an hour later, the same man comes up to her while she is sitting down on a chair and taking a break. "Can I help you?" she asks. He looks at her for a second and then says, "Do you know where I can find the nearest pharmacy?" Again, she was taken aback by his question because she had never seen him before in her life. But there was something about his eyes that just felt so familiar to her. "Nope, sorry, don't know," she responds. He thinks for a second and then says, "Well, thanks anyway," and he walks away. This time she goes to the coworker and tells them that she is 150% sure that she knows this guy, but she just can't figure out where. Her coworker just laughs and tells her to stop being crazy. There's no way that she knows this guy. About 20 minutes later, she hears the manager say over the intercom, "Code 10 in progress, code 10 in progress." For those who don't know what a code 10 is, it is when a customer shoplifts and management has to scramble to find the items and bring them back to the sales floor. This particular store was notorious for its code 10s, and they happened almost every day. So she goes to check on her coworker and asks him if he knows what the code 10 is for. He responds, "No idea. It's probably just another one of those women taking bras and underwear." She didn't want to believe him, but given how many code 10s there were, she figured that he was probably right. A few minutes later, she sees the manager come running out of the stockroom with a pair of scissors in his hand. He looks at her and says, "Do you know where I can find the nearest hardware store?" She looks at him confused and responds, "Huh? Oh, you want to know where you can find the nearest hardware store? Why don't you just look on Google?" He looks at her for a second and then says, "Thanks, I didn't know you could do that," and he walks away. Now she was really starting to get creeped out because the whole time that he'd been talking to her, she had never seen him take his eyes off of her. She tells her coworker about it and he responds, "Well, maybe he just has a crush on you." She rolls her eyes and tells him that he's being ridiculous. All of a sudden, the man walks up to her and says, "Hey listen, I'm really sorry to bother you, but do you know where I can find the nearest police station?" She looks at him confused and responds, "Why would you want to go to the police station?" He looks at her for a second and then says, "Well, thanks anyway," and he walks away. She tells her coworker about it and he responds, "Well, maybe he's wanted for something. Maybe he's a serial killer or something." She tells him to shut up because she is now starting to get scared. The man walks up to her again and says, "Hey listen, I'm really sorry to bother you, but do you know where I can find the nearest payphone?" She looks at him confused and responds, "You want to know where you can find the nearest payphone? Just look on Google." He looks at her for a second and then says, "Oh, yeah, thanks. I didn't know you could do that," and he walks away. At this point, she is absolutely terrified because she doesn't know what he wants. She tries to call the police, but her phone is dead because she forgot to charge it. She runs to the bathroom and locks herself in a stall and tries to call the police from her coworker's phone. The man walks in and asks her where the nearest payphone is. She tells him to screw off and he gets angry and starts banging on the door. She screams and hides under the sink. When the coast is clear, she runs out of the bathroom and calls the police from a different coworker's phone. They ask her what's wrong and she tells them that there is a man in the store that she thinks might be a serial killer. They tell her that they'll send someone out to talk to him and see what the problem is. When the man sees the police coming, he turns around and runs out the front door. They chase after him, but he gets away. When they come back inside, she tells him that he asked her for directions to the nearest payphone and that's when they found out that he had stolen a wallet and credit card from a woman that worked at the store a few days earlier. He used her credit card to buy some clothes and then he stole a car and drove away. The cops tell her that they'll keep an eye out for him, but she can't help but feel like she was the only one who took this threat seriously.